Daniel tapped a butter knife against his wine glass while I was still carrying a tray of stuffed mushrooms out of the oven. "To the woman who carried us into this home," he said. His mother, Evelyn, stood beneath the living room pendant lights with one hand already rising toward her heart. Daniel smiled at her. "Mom, we never could have done this without you." Everyone applauded. Evelyn lowered her eyes as if gratitude embarrassed her, though she had positioned herself beside the fireplace where every phone could catch her. I set down the tray, picked up the remote, and woke the television. Daniel's smile flickered. "Claire?" The county property tax portal was still open from when I downloaded our latest receipt that morning. I enlarged the payment history. 9 payments filled the screen. Each one had my name beside it. "There," I said. "That's who carried the house." For a few seconds, the only sound was the tiny hiss of mushroom filling burning my wrist through the oven mitt. Then Daniel's Uncle Peter gave an uncertain cough. Someone lowered a wine glass onto the mantel too hard. Evelyn read the screen. She didn't squint or move closer. She had always had excellent eyesight when numbers were involved. Finally, she laughed. It was a warm, forgiving laugh, the one she used when a waiter forgot her lemon. "Oh, sweetheart," she said. "Taxes are maintenance. I was talking about making the home possible." "You weren't talking," I said. Daniel was. Every face turned toward him. Daniel still held the butter knife. I wondered if he realized that. He looked faintly ridiculous, dressed for his own party with a utensil in his hand, but nothing about his expression was funny. "Can we not do this right now?" he asked quietly. "You chose right now. We're making a toast. You made a toast." Evelyn crossed the rug toward me. Her heels made no sound on the thick wool runner she had told me was too pale for a front room. She touched my arm. "Claire, the money I gave you was the reason the bank didn't swallow this place during the renovation." "The money you loaned us." "Of course it was a loan." "The loan I repaid." "We repaid," Daniel said. I looked at him. It happened so quickly that I nearly missed what he had done. Not a mistake, not a sloppy pronoun, a correction. He had taken the 11 months of transfers from my consulting account and folded them into "we" as neatly as he folded napkins. His cousin Mara stepped closer to the television. "Those are quarterly." "Yes, all 9 came out of your account." "Mara," Daniel said. She lifted both hands. "I'm asking what's on the screen. I could have opened the bank records. I could have shown the transfers to Evelyn, including the interest she had insisted on because, as she put it, clarity preserved affection. I had a folder for every invoice from the roof to the cabinet pulls. Daniel teased me about it until one of those folders saved us $1,800 on a contractor dispute. Then he called me brilliant for a week. Instead, I turned off the television. The black screen reflected the room. 23 people standing in a house that had suddenly become too small. "Well," Uncle Peter said, "the mushrooms smelled terrific. It was a terrible rescue, but people took it. They moved toward the food with the speed of passengers obeying an evacuation order. Mara squeezed my elbow as she passed. Evelyn went back to the fireplace. Daniel set the butter knife beside the abandoned glass and followed me into the kitchen. "What was that?" he whispered. I slid the burned tray onto a cooling rack. 9 tax payments. You know what I mean. So do you. He closed the kitchen door halfway, then seemed to realize that would look worse, and opened it again. My mother gave us $18,000 when the renovation went sideways, and I paid her $20,460. It wasn't just the money. She believed in us. I pulled off the oven mitt. A red line crossed the inside of my wrist. What did I do? His eyes dropped to the burn. For half a second, his face softened. Then Evelyn entered, carrying an empty platter. "Everyone loves the mushrooms," she said. She set the platter beside the sink and looked from Daniel to me. "You two are not going to ruin this night over a figure of speech." "It wasn't a figure of speech," I said. "It was a history." Her mouth tightened. Behind her, someone laughed too loudly in the dining room. Daniel's playlist moved into an old Motown song, cheerful and bright. Evelyn leaned against the counter. "I never asked for a parade, Claire." "No, you just stood there and accepted one." "I accepted my son's thanks. For my work. For being there when he needed me." Daniel rubbed his forehead. "Can both of you stop talking like I'm not here?" Evelyn turned to him immediately. "You're right. This is your home, too." The sentence landed exactly where she intended it to. I looked at Daniel. He looked away first. On the counter behind him sat the blue glass bowl that had belonged to my grandmother. It was small and imperfect, with one side slightly thicker than the other. Morning light made ripples through it. At night, under the pendant lamp, it looked like deep water. We kept our keys there, or I thought we did. A red leather key ring rested inside it, half covered by Daniel's car fob. From the ring hung 3 silver keys and one newly cut brass key. I reached past him and lifted it. Evelyn watched me. "What does this open?" Daniel exhaled through his nose. That was my answer before either of them spoke. "Claire," he said, "it's for emergencies." I held the key by its square head. The cut edges were still sharp. "When did you give it to her?" "She was meeting the tile guy. The tile guy finished 6 weeks ago. She also checked on the dehumidifier when we went to Portland." "You told me Mara checked it." Mara appeared in the kitchen doorway with a napkin in her hand. "Checked what?" Nobody answered. Her gaze found the key. "Oh," she said. Evelyn straightened. "I watered the plants." "We don't have any plants. You had the herbs in the window." "Those were plastic," Daniel said, and then winced. Under other circumstances, I might have laughed. Evelyn shot him a look. Well, they were very convincing. Mara bit the inside of her cheek. I could see it. I placed the key on the counter rather than back in the bowl. "Give me one good reason you need permanent access to my house." "Our house," Daniel said. I looked at him again. I was asking her. Evelyn's face changed then. The softness left it. She was still smiling, but it had become the smile of someone answering a challenge at a committee meeting. "Because when the pipe under the upstairs sink leaked, I came over before either of you could leave work, because I spent 4 hours waiting for the appliance delivery you scheduled on the wrong day, because I brought food when Daniel was laid off and you were working until midnight, because family shouldn't have to stand on the porch like strangers." Family knocks. Not when there's an emergency. Was the tile guy an emergency? "Enough," Daniel said. He picked up the brass key and closed his fist around it. That should have ended the question. Instead, he slipped it into his pocket. A small movement. Almost nothing. I felt it all the way down. Mara glanced toward the dining room. "Peter is carving the roast, and he's doing it against the grain because he thinks confidence is a substitute for knowledge." She looked at me, not Daniel. "Want me to stop him?" "Please." She left. Evelyn took the platter from the counter. "I'm going to pretend this conversation didn't happen." "That makes one of us," I said. Daniel waited until she left before turning on me. "You embarrassed her. I corrected you. You put our finances on television. You put our finances in your toast. That is not the same thing. No, your version had better lighting." He stared at me. Anger pulled one corner of his mouth down, but beneath it was something closer to fear. I had known Daniel through job losses, a kidney stone, one disastrous attempt at brewing beer, and the month we lived with no kitchen sink. I knew when he was irritated and when he was ashamed. This was neither. "What did you tell her?" I asked. His eyes shifted toward the doorway. "About what?" "The house, the money, me. What did you tell her before tonight?" "Claire, there are people in the next room. That didn't stop you 10 minutes ago." He lowered his voice. "I told her we appreciated her help. She thinks she saved us. She did help save us. How much does she think we still owe her?" He said nothing. The question had come out before I knew I was asking it, and the silence afterward made my skin go cold. Daniel reached for my wrist. "You burned yourself." I pulled away. It was a familiar trick, though I had never thought of it as one. He found the practical thing. The blister, the missing serving spoon, the music too loud, something small enough to solve. "I'll get the first aid kit," he said. "Answer me." He paused with his hand on the pantry door. "We don't owe her money." That wasn't the question. A guest called his name from the living room. Daniel called back. 1 second. Then he faced me with the patience he used on difficult clients. "My mother has a different idea of value than you do. She counts time. She counts favors. She counts showing up. I count those things." "No, you document them." I looked at the folders lying neatly on the top pantry shelf. He followed my gaze and seemed sorry, but not enough to stop. "You make everything transactional," he said. "Your mother charged us interest. That was because you insisted on formal terms. I insisted because she changed the amount twice before we signed anything." She was nervous. So was I. I still paid her back. He opened the pantry, took down the first aid kit, and set it beside me. "I'm not doing this in the middle of a party." "You already did." He left before I could ask again what Evelyn believed we owed. For the next 2 hours, we performed. I refilled glasses. Daniel told the story of how we found the house, leaving out the inspection report that made him want to walk away, and the spreadsheet I built to show we could repair it in phases. Evelyn gave tours upstairs without asking me. Twice I saw her open closed doors. When she reached for the office handle, I stepped between her and it. "That room's a mess," I said. She smiled. "I've seen mess. Not this one." For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Uncle Peter shouted from downstairs that someone had found the good bourbon, and Evelyn turned away. Near midnight, the last guests collected coats from the bed. Mara stayed behind to stack plates. "You don't have to do that," I told her. "I know, that's why it's a gesture instead of a job." She scraped congealed sauce into the trash. "Your aunt is going to blame me for the rest of her life." My aunt blamed a ceiling fan for her divorce. I thought her ex-husband cheated. He did. She said the fan made their bedroom feel like a chain restaurant. I laughed before I could help it. The sound felt strange in my chest. Mara handed me a plate. "For what it's worth, I didn't know about the loan terms." "I didn't expect you to." She made it sound like she gave you the down payment. "She loaned us renovation money after the plumbing estimate doubled. The down payment came from the sale of my condo and Daniel's savings." "How much of each?" I looked at her. She lifted one shoulder. "You don't have to tell me." 72 from me, 31 from him. Mara stopped scraping. "But both names are on the deed?" "Yes." "And he toasted Evelyn?" "Yes." She resumed scraping, slower this time. Daniel has always narrated himself generously. That was as close as Mara came to criticizing him. The front door opened. Daniel came in carrying a black trash bag from the side yard. "My mother left her scarf," he said. "It's on the chair," I told him. He found it, then stood there with it draped over his hand. Mara looked at the bulging bag. "Recycling?" "Trash. Bottles go in recycling." "I know. You're holding bottles." He looked down at the bag as if it had betrayed him. Mara took it from him. "I'll sort it." After she left, Daniel laid Evelyn's scarf beside the blue bowl. The brass key was not in it. "Did you get it back?" I asked. He began gathering wine glasses. "Daniel, she already left. You had it in your pocket." I gave it back. I waited for him to look at me. He didn't. "You gave it back after I asked for it?" "It's midnight, Claire." "That's your answer?" "My answer is that she has helped us constantly, and I'm not going to treat her like a burglar because you got angry during a toast." I picked up the blue bowl. His keys slid against the glass with a clean, bright sound. Then I carried it out of the kitchen. "Where are you going with that?" I stopped at the bottom of the stairs. "It's mine." "I know it's yours." "No," I said. "I don't think you do." Upstairs, I set the bowl on the dresser beside my watch and closed the bedroom door. Daniel did not follow me. Sometime after 1, I heard him moving through the kitchen. Cabinet doors opened and shut. Water ran. The lock clicked as he checked the front door. In the morning, I woke to the smell of coffee and furniture polish. For one soft, stupid second, I thought Daniel was trying to make peace. Then I heard Evelyn's voice downstairs. "The bowl looked better by the door," she said. "That table seems naked without it." I sat up. Daniel murmured something I couldn't make out. A cabinet opened. Evelyn laughed. I looked at the blue glass bowl on my dresser. Morning light passed through it and laid a wavering blue shape across the wall. Then a key turned in the front lock below, and the door closed behind Daniel as he left me alone in the house with his mother. I found Evelyn wiping circles from the dining table with one of my linen napkins. She had changed out of the dress she wore to the party. Now she had on black slacks, loafers, and a pale sweater with the sleeves pushed to her elbows. A plastic caddy of cleaning supplies sat on the floor beside her. "Good morning," she said. "There's coffee, but Daniel took the last clean travel mug. How did you get in?" Her hand continued moving over the wood. "You heard me." I heard a key. "That's what I'm asking about." She folded the napkin into a smaller square. "Daniel said you were upset." "He gave you back the key after I asked him not to." "He didn't give it back. He declined to take it." "That's not a distinction." "It is if you're interested in what actually happened." I was standing there, and I'm telling you that your husband made his own decision. She said it almost gently. I tightened the belt of my robe. "Where is he?" "Returning the rented chairs." "He left you here." "I came to help clean." "With a key I asked you to return." "Claire, look at this table." She pointed to a white ring near the centerpiece. "I am looking at you." "Someone left a wet glass on walnut. You'll be grateful I caught it." That was Evelyn's gift. She could make gratitude sound like a debt you had already defaulted on. I picked up her cleaning caddy and carried it to the front hall. She stared at me. "What are you doing?" "Helping you leave." "Don't be childish. Give me the key." She set down the napkin. "Yesterday, in front of my family, you deliberately humiliated my son. Your son thanked you for my money. He thanked me for standing beside both of you during a difficult time. He said you carried us into this home. Because I did." I felt the old instinct to answer with evidence, dates, transfers. The exact afternoon she had sat at our unfinished kitchen island and explained that a bank certificate was earning nearly 4%, so charging us 3 was practically charity. I could have repeated her own words until she had nowhere to go. She would only build another room. "Give me the key," I said again. Her chin rose. "No." The clean simplicity of it startled me. "Then I'll change the locks." "You'll change your husband's locks?" "The locks on my house. There it is." She nodded as if I had finally admitted something. "Everything is yours when you're angry. Your house, your payments, your work. Daniel becomes a guest in his own life." "You mean the life I maintain?" "I mean the life he has to ask permission to enjoy." She collected her purse from the chair. Her red leather key ring dangled from 2 fingers, the new brass key among the silver ones. I held out my hand. She dropped the ring into her purse. "You're making a serious mistake," she said. "Your caddy's by the door." She left without it. I locked the deadbolt behind her, though I knew the gesture was useless. The cleaning caddy remained beside the coat rack like a flag planted on captured ground. It held glass cleaner, furniture oil, grout brushes, a roll of trash bags, and the lavender spray Evelyn used in her condo. The entire first floor smelled like her. Daniel came home 40 minutes later. He walked through the front door carrying a paper bag from the bakery and stopped when he saw the caddy. "Where's Mom?" I asked her to leave. His shoulders dropped. "Claire, did you tell her she could come over? She texted that she was bringing coffee. Did you tell her she could let herself in?" I was already awake. I wasn't. He set the bakery bag on the entry table where the blue bowl used to be. She was trying to help. She refused to return the key. You backed her into a corner. It's a key, Daniel. It has one job. It either opens my door or it doesn't. Our door. Then why does your mother get a vote and I don't? He looked toward the dining room. Did she get the ring out? What ring? On the table. I laughed once. He frowned. What? Nothing. The ring is safe. I brought almond croissants. I don't want one. You love almond croissants. I also loved thinking you knew who paid our taxes. His face closed. He took the bag into the kitchen and began opening cabinet doors too hard. On Monday, I called a locksmith from my office parking lot. I did not hide it from Daniel. I sent him the appointment time and told him the exterior cylinders would be changed Thursday. He replied with a thumbs up, then called me 6 minutes later. You can't unilaterally change the locks. You'll get new keys. My mother should have one. No, what if there's an emergency? We have Mara 10 minutes away, Peter is 15, our neighbors have our numbers. So everyone but my mother? Anyone who returns a key when asked. He went quiet. I could hear keyboards and muted voices behind him. Daniel had started a new job at a regional insurance brokerage 5 months earlier, and he hated being overheard there. He wanted to seem established, uncomplicated. This is punishment, he said. It's a lock. You're punishing her for the toast. I'm responding to her saying no in my doorway. She was offended. So was I. I didn't take her condo key. She would give you one. I don't want one. That's the difference between you. He ended the call before I could ask what difference he meant. The locksmith came Thursday. He had gray hair, a heavy tool belt, and no interest in our marriage. 3 copies? He asked. 2. Daniel stood behind me in the hall. Make 4. The locksmith looked between us. 2, I said. He scratched the side of his nose. You folks settle on a number, I'll cut the number. 4, Daniel repeated. 2, I said. The locksmith studied his work order with sudden devotion. Daniel walked into the kitchen. Do what she wants. The new keys were nickel, not brass. When I dropped mine into the blue bowl upstairs, it made a thinner sound than the old one. That evening, Daniel held out his hand. I gave him the second copy. He turned it over. That's it? That's it. What happens if I lose it? You call me. His mouth twisted. Like a guest. Like a husband whose mother refused to give back the last one. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then Evelyn called me at work about the duplex. She owned a narrow brick building across town with 2 rental units and a hair salon on the ground floor. Years earlier, when she complained that her bookkeeper charged too much to type numbers into boxes, Daniel volunteered that I could organize her invoices. I was good with systems. I built her a monthly tracker, set reminders for insurance renewals, kept contractor certificates in one folder, reconciled deposits, and answered the messages she forwarded with no subject line and the word handle. The promised hour a month became 6, then 8. Evelyn never paid me. She gave us a restaurant gift card every Christmas and referred to the duplex as something we all benefit from, though I had never benefited from it beyond knowing exactly how much a commercial water heater cost. The plumber hasn't sent the revised estimate, she said. He sent it Tuesday. I don't have it. I forwarded it. You know I can't open those shared links. It's a PDF attachment. Then why does it say view? Because that's what you do with a PDF. She sighed. Could you call him? No. A pause. Excuse me? I'm at work. You've called contractors before. I'm not doing that anymore. Her voice sharpened. Doing what? Managing the duplex. You don't manage it. Great. Then you won't notice when I stop. I had drafted the email the night before. I sent it while she was still telling me the plumber liked me better and would charge her more if she called. It listed every recurring task, every password she needed to reset, every vendor contact, and the date at the end of the month when I would remove my access. She went silent when it landed. This is vindictive. she said. No, vindictive would be deleting the files. I organized them by year. Because of a toast? Because I'm done performing unpaid work for someone who treats access to me like access to my house. You offered to help. Daniel offered me. She hung up. At 6, Daniel called from his car. Did you quit on my mother? I resigned from a job she says I never had. She's crying. She'll need to call her plumber between tears. This isn't you. No, it's exactly me. You're just used to the free version. He made a sound like he'd been hit. I regretted the sentence as soon as I heard it, but not enough to take it back. That night, he slept facing the wall. Sunday morning, my phone buzzed with a grocery notification. Evelyn's standing order was ready for pickup. Mineral water, yogurt, pears, coffee pods, the imported crackers she insisted were cheaper in bulk. My card was still listed because she had once forgotten her wallet and never changed it back. I canceled the order and removed the card. At noon, Daniel came downstairs in jeans and a sweater. Are you getting ready? He asked. For what? Sunday dinner. Here? He stared at me. It's Sunday. We never agreed to host today. Mom bought a roast. She has an oven. She's been cooking here because her kitchen is small. She's been using my kitchen because we let her. Our kitchen. Then you cook the roast. He checked his phone. She's already on her way. The doorbell rang 20 minutes later. Daniel looked at me. I looked at him. It rang again. He opened the door with his new key still in his hand. Evelyn stood on the porch, holding a roasting pan covered in foil. Beside her were 2 canvas bags, her purse, and the abandoned cleaning caddy. The bell works, I said. She smiled at Daniel. Can you take this? It's heavy. He carried the pan inside. Evelyn handed me the cleaning caddy as she passed. You forgot to return this. You left it. Well, now we both remember. She had brought enough food for 9 people. Peter and his wife arrived first, then Mara, carrying wine and wearing the expression of someone approaching an interesting accident. I had not invited any of them. Daniel moved around the kitchen, trying to do everything Evelyn asked. He hunted for the roasting rack, peeled potatoes, ran to the store for rosemary, and drove back again when Evelyn discovered she had forgotten cream. I sat at the counter with Mara and drank coffee. Are we helping? Mara whispered. I'm not. Excellent. I've always wanted to observe Sunday dinner in its natural habitat. Daniel returned with the cream, flushed and out of breath. Could you set the table? He asked me. No. He stared at me in front of everyone. Evelyn opened a drawer. I'll do it. She set the table with the everyday dishes, then complained they looked too casual and asked Daniel to bring down the good china from the top cabinet. He climbed onto a chair while she steadied it with one hand. At dinner, Peter praised the roast. Evelyn said, It's amazing what you can accomplish when people still believe in helping each other. Mara took a sip of wine. The roast had a support network? Peter choked on a carrot. I hid my smile in my water glass. Afterward, Daniel washed every dish. Evelyn left the roasting pan soaking and reminded him to deliver her groceries on his way to work the next morning. When the door finally closed behind the family, he came into the living room with wet cuffs and a red face. Are you happy? I didn't invite them. You sat there. Yes. You watched me drown. I watched you host your family. They're your family, too. Then why is serving them the only part that belongs to me? He sank onto the couch. For the first time since the party, he looked tired instead of angry. She doesn't know how to do the duplex stuff, he said. She can hire someone. She doesn't trust anyone. She trusted me enough not to pay me. He rubbed his hands over his face. I need you to stop escalating. I changed a lock and quit an unpaid job. You separated your paycheck. My stomach tightened. I had opened the individual account Friday and moved my direct deposit. I had not moved $1 from our joint balance. I had scheduled my half of the mortgage, utilities, insurance, and taxes exactly as before. How do you know that? The deposit didn't come in. You checked. It's our account. My half of every shared expense is scheduled. That's not the point. What's the point? He stood and went to the desk. From the top drawer, he took a folder I had never seen. Inside was a spreadsheet. Across the top, in bold letters, Daniel had written, "Family contributions to household equity." Evelyn's $18,000 appeared in the first row. Below it, he had assigned dollar values to appliance deliveries, meals, contractor visits, and emergency availability. The total came to $47,300. My 9 property tax payments were listed under routine household expenses. Beneath the spreadsheet was a one-page acknowledgement with signature lines for Daniel and me. I read it twice. "What is this?" "It's not legal paperwork," he said quickly. "It's just something Mom asked us to sign so she feels secure." The page said that if the house were sold, Evelyn's contributions would be recognized before Daniel and I divided any proceeds. I looked at the date in the upper corner. He had created the document 3 weeks before the housewarming. The toast had never been an exaggeration. It had been rehearsal. I held the acknowledgement by one corner. "Did she write this?" Daniel looked at the floor. "We wrote it together." "In this house? What does that matter? Did you sit at my desk and write a claim against my share of our home?" "It isn't a claim. It says she gets paid before we do. It says her contribution gets recognized. It got recognized every month for 11 months. I have the receipts. You're doing it again." "Doing what?" "Reducing everything to transfers." I flipped back to the spreadsheet. "Emergency availability," I read. $12,000. It's an estimate. Based on what? What it would cost to hire someone who could be here when we couldn't. She met 2 appliance deliveries and let in 3 contractors. She also brought meals. $7,800 worth? You're being deliberately literal. There are dollar signs, Daniel. He grabbed the spreadsheet from me. "Fine. The numbers need work. The numbers need to be set on fire. Could you try for 1 minute to understand why she needs this? Why does she? Because she feels disposable. I almost admired it. Evelyn had a key, a Sunday table, access to our kitchen, a son who wrote fictional invoices for her affection, and she felt disposable. What would make her feel secure? I asked. My signature? Her name on the deed? The blue bowl back by the door? The bowl has nothing to do with this. It's the only thing in this house she hasn't claimed. He flinched. I set the acknowledgement on the desk. Where are my contributions? What? On your spreadsheet. Where's the down payment from my condo? Where's the consulting income? Where are the tax payments? I told you. Those are household expenses. So hers become equity and mine become chores. Nobody said chores. What about the renovations I managed, the cabinets I refinished, the 6 months I cooked on a hot plate? You live here, Claire. So does your mother, apparently. He walked away from me, then turned back. She supported me when I lost my job. I supported you. She didn't make me feel ashamed of it. The sentence stopped both of us. Daniel's anger vanished as soon as it was spoken. He reached for me, but I stepped back. I didn't mean that. You did. I meant she didn't ask for spreadsheets. She asked for interest. That's not what I'm talking about. No, you're talking about the fact that I knew what keeping us afloat cost. He sat on the arm of the couch. Every time you paid something, I could feel you adding it to a column. I was making sure it got paid. Exactly. I saw then how he had lived inside my competence, not with gratitude as I had believed, but with a quiet humiliation he had never named. Evelyn let him call dependence love. I called the electrician and knew the balance afterward. He had chosen the version of us in which she saved him because my version required him to know what I had carried. I went upstairs and closed the bedroom door. He slept in the guest room. 2 days later, Evelyn left a voicemail saying the downstairs tenant's security deposit was missing from the duplex account. It wasn't. She had moved it into a 6-month certificate after I showed her the higher rate. The confirmation sat in the folder labeled Deposits, which I had placed first in the shared drive and starred. I forwarded the document without comment. She replied to Daniel, copying me. This is exactly the kind of confusion I feared when Claire suddenly abandoned her responsibilities. I typed 3 answers and deleted all of them. At lunch, Mara called. "I've been deputized," she said. "For what?" "Aunt Evelyn wants me to help locate funds you misplaced." I didn't misplace anything. I guessed that from the fact that she used the phrase financial irregularities 4 times. I stared through my office window at the concrete parking structure across the street. I sent the certificate. She says there should be another deposit. There are 3. 2 are in the duplex operating account. 1 is in the certificate. Can you send me access? No, I can send you the records. Fair. I emailed a read-only folder containing statements, reconciliations, vendor certificates, invoices, and a log of every hour I had spent on the property during the previous year. I had created the log when I considered asking Evelyn to pay me, then lost my nerve. Mara called again that evening. 76 hours? That's only last year. What did she pay you? $200 in steakhouse gift cards. There was a silence. I defended her after the party, Mara said. You asked about the payments. Then I told Peter you were probably overwhelmed and made the toast bigger than it was. I sat on the edge of the bed, looking at the blue bowl. Why are you telling me? Because I repeated her story before I checked yours. It was not an apology shaped for display. She did not ask me to forgive her. Thank you, I said. I'm going to tell her the deposits are correct. Then I'm never opening one of these spreadsheets again. That's wise. Your husband has a tab called Emotional Infrastructure. I closed my eyes. Of course he does. Do you want to know the total? No. Also wise. Mara told Evelyn the accounts were clean. Evelyn responded by accusing Mara of taking my side. Mara said numbers did not have sides and left their family group chat for 6 hours. Peter called that an unprecedented constitutional crisis. For one evening, I could breathe. Then Daniel came home carrying 2 suitcases. He placed them inside the front door and avoided my eyes. No, I said. Her condo kitchen has water damage. She can stay in a hotel. The remediation company opened the wall. There's mold. For how long? 5 days. Maybe a week. No, she can't stay there. She can stay with Peter. His wife is having a procedure. Mara. She has 1 bedroom. Hotel. She's not comfortable in hotels. I'm not comfortable with her here. Daniel gripped the suitcase handles. I'm not leaving my mother in a hotel because you 2 are fighting. This is not a fight. I told you she could not stay here. You don't get to ban my family. I get to say who sleeps in my house, our house. Then it takes 2 yeses. The front lock turned. Evelyn entered with her red key ring in her hand. For one wild second, I thought the locksmith had failed. Then I saw Daniel's nickel key clipped beside the brass one. He had given her his copy. She stepped over the threshold carrying a garment bag. I'm not discussing this in the hallway, she said. I looked at Daniel. She needed to bring things in while I was at work, he said. You gave her your only key. I made another copy. When? He did not answer. Evelyn carried the garment bag toward the stairs. I'll use the guest room. You won't know I'm here. You're not staying. She stopped. Her expression was tired rather than triumphant. That made it worse. She had begun to experience my refusal as background noise. The kitchen ceiling came down this morning, she said. I have nowhere else prepared. I will pay for your hotel tonight. I don't want your money. You wanted $47,000 of it. Daniel's face hardened. Claire. Evelyn went pale. I wished I had not said it. I also wished I had said it louder. She carried the garment bag upstairs. Daniel turned to follow. If she sleeps here, I said. I don't. He stopped with 1 foot on the first step. Don't make ultimatums. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Where would you even go? The question was not concern. It was disbelief. I packed one suitcase and a duffel. Daniel stood in the bedroom doorway while I folded work clothes. He offered 3 compromises, each of which ended with Evelyn in the guest room. She would stay only 3 nights. She would use the side entrance. She would keep to herself. She would return the key afterward. When I lifted the blue bowl from the dresser, he stepped into the room. "You're taking that?" "Yes." "Why?" "It's mine." He leaned against the doorframe. "You keep saying that because you keep asking." The bowl fit inside a sweater in my duffel. The keys inside it would have rattled, so I put mine in my pocket. Evelyn stood at the end of the hall. She had changed into slippers. "This is melodramatic," she said. "No," I told her. "Melodrama would be throwing the bowl." I walked past her. Daniel followed me to the front porch. "Call me when you calm down." I put my suitcase in the trunk. "That's not why I'm leaving." "You can't seriously end a marriage over my mother staying 5 days. I'm leaving because you gave her a key after I changed the locks to keep her out. She wasn't stealing from us. You keep defending the thing I didn't accuse her of." "What does that mean?" "It means the door was never the point." I drove to a furnished studio 12 minutes from my office. It had beige walls, a narrow galley kitchen, and a bed that folded into a cabinet, but looked likely to kill anyone who tested the mechanism. The landlord called the decor executive neutral. It looked like oatmeal had won a design contest. I set the blue bowl beside the door. For the first week, Daniel texted constantly. He sent pictures of the remediation work in Evelyn's condo. He sent a photograph of the roast pan, finally clean. He told me he missed the sound of me making coffee. Then he asked where we kept the furnace filters. I answered only questions that affected the house. Evelyn's 5 days became 12. Her condo kitchen was usable after 8, but she said the paint smell gave her headaches. Daniel drove her to vendor meetings, handled the duplex plumber, collected her grocery order, and missed a client dinner because she needed him to wait for an insurance adjuster. On the 13th day, he called me at 10 at night. "I understand the grocery thing now," he said. I sat cross-legged on the studio bed with my laptop open. "What grocery thing?" She changes the order after it's placed. "Yes," and then says the substitutions are wrong. "Yes?" She made me drive back because the pears were too hard. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "Did you sign her equity acknowledgement?" "No." "Did she leave our house?" A pause. "She's leaving tomorrow." She left the next afternoon. Her red key ring went with her. The copy of Daniel's nickel key did too. He did not ask for it back. At the end of the month, I removed my access to the duplex accounts exactly as promised. Evelyn hired a bookkeeper, fired her after 9 days, and began forwarding Daniel every invoice. He stopped sending messages about coffee. My half of the mortgage, insurance, utilities, and quarterly tax installment went into the joint account on schedule. I sent Daniel a list of payment dates and asked him to confirm he would handle them while he occupied the house. He replied, "I'm capable of paying bills, Claire." The tax deadline passed. 3 days later, the money was still sitting in the joint account. I logged into the portal, selected the outstanding installment, and reached the payment screen. My bank information appeared automatically. All I had to do was click. I closed the laptop. The first notice arrived at the house a week later. Daniel photographed the envelope and texted, "What is this?" "You missed the payment," I wrote. "Why didn't you remind me?" I did. The second notice added interest and a warning about further penalties. He left that envelope unopened on the entry table and sent me a picture of a leaking faucet instead. I drove to the house while he was at work. The room smelled stale. Evelyn's lavender spray lingered in the guest room. A stack of duplex invoices covered my desk. The tax notice lay where the blue bowl used to sit. I took it to the studio and placed it beside the bowl. That evening, I called a lawyer. She listened, asked practical questions, and told me the house could be sold, refinanced, or fought over until the fees ate the thing both of us claimed to value. "What do you want?" she asked. I looked at the overdue notice. I want to stop being the reason he never has to choose. The next morning, I told Daniel he had 30 days to refinance and buy out my share. If he could not, I would ask the court to order the house sold. Daniel called before I reached the elevator. "You talked to a lawyer?" "Yes." "Before talking to me?" "I've been talking to you for weeks. You moved out. You moved your mother in. For 12 days. I said no before day 1. A woman from another office stepped into the elevator with me. I lowered my voice. "You have 30 days. If you want the house, get an appraisal, refinance the mortgage, and buy my share. You can't put a deadline on my home. It's my home too. That's the problem." The elevator doors opened. I stepped into the lobby. What if I don't agree to sell? Then we spend money asking a judge to decide. He was silent long enough that I heard the small electronic chime warning that the elevator doors were closing behind me. "You'd really do that," he said. "Yes." "Because I thanked my mother." "No, because you keep calling it thanks." I ended the call before he could find another smaller name for what had happened. For the first week, Daniel acted as though the deadline were a mood I would recover from. He sent me a listing for a restaurant we had wanted to try and wrote, "We should talk somewhere neutral." I agreed. He arrived 14 minutes late because Evelyn's duplex bookkeeper had quit again and a tenant needed proof of insurance. He sat across from me looking tired, with his tie loosened and his hair still damp from rain. "I ordered you the salmon," he said. "You ordered before I got here." "You always get the salmon." "I was going to get the steak." He blinked, then waved at the waiter. "Can we switch that?" The waiter said the kitchen had already started it. "It's fine," I said. Daniel leaned forward. "I'm trying, Claire." "I know. I told Mom she can't stay at the house again without both of us agreeing. She doesn't live there. I also told her the key is for emergencies only. She still has it?" He leaned back. "That was part of the problem," I said. "I can get it back." "You could have gotten it back at the housewarming." I didn't understand how much it mattered. "I told you. I thought it was about control. It was. Yours or hers?" I looked at him. He rubbed his forehead. "That came out wrong." "No, it came out clearly. The salmon arrived. Daniel had ordered it with sauce on the side, which I had stopped asking for 2 years earlier. He waited until the waiter left. What would coming home look like? "I'm not discussing coming home. You're threatening to sell it. I'm telling you what happens if you can't buy me out. You restored every inch of that place. I know. You love it. I did." "Did? I don't know how to love a house where I need a witness to close the door." He looked down at his plate. "I'll get the key back," he said. "And the acknowledgement? I never signed it. You wrote it." Mom was scared. She was trying to turn a repaid loan into equity. She saw what happened at the party. She saw how fast you could erase what she did. I set down my fork. "Daniel, the spreadsheet valued her dinners at almost $8,000. I told you the numbers were rough. What are my dinners worth?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. "That's the whole marriage," I said. "Her effort is an investment. Mine is atmosphere." He reached across the table. I moved my hand into my lap. "I don't want to lose you," he said. For 1 second, I believed him without qualification. That was the hard part. Daniel did love me. He loved my dry jokes, my cold feet under his legs on the couch, the way I could fix a cabinet hinge without watching a video. He loved the life we had made. He also believed that loving it entitled him to keep it exactly as it had been made. "What have you done about the refinance?" I asked. His face changed. "I'm looking at options." "Have you applied?" "I need documents from you. You need the mortgage statement and the appraisal. You have both. The lender wants income records. Yours." He picked up his glass. 30 days isn't realistic. "My lawyer said it was enough to know whether you could qualify." "Your lawyer?" "Yes." He drank his water. The salmon tasted like something served at a conference. On day 12, an appraiser walked through the house while Daniel followed her with a list of improvements. He credited himself with the deck repair and Evelyn with negotiating the flooring discount. When he reached the kitchen, he paused beside the cabinets I had sanded and painted. "My wife did those," he said. The appraiser made a note. He told me afterward, as though it were evidence of progress. I wanted it to be. On day 16, Evelyn called from a number I did not recognize. I answered because I thought it was a vendor. "You are forcing him to choose between his marriage and his home," she said. "No, the house is the choice he made. He adores you." "I know." "Then stop punishing him." "Has he applied for the refinance?" "He is working on it." "Has he asked you for money?" Silence. I sat back in my desk chair. "What did you offer?" "That is between my son and me." "Then why are you calling?" "Because I am willing to solve this, but you keep creating conditions no reasonable person could accept." "What are your conditions?" "I don't have conditions. You charged interest on a family loan, and you received below-market terms." I almost smiled. Even under pressure, Evelyn could turn generosity into an index. "You want your name recorded against the house," I said. "I want security. And a key. I refuse to be locked out of property I am financing." There it was. Not family, not emergency. Property. "Daniel told you?" "He didn't have to. He should take your offer if that's the home he wants." "You would allow that?" "It won't be my house." She breathed in sharply. I think she had expected resistance. Resistance kept me inside the arrangement. My willingness to leave frightened her more than any number I could put on a television. "You've become very cold," she said. "No, I stopped warming the whole building." I hung up. Mara called 10 minutes later. "I assume she reached you." From a number ending in 81. "Peter's landline. She thinks unfamiliar numbers are a tactical advantage." "She offered Daniel refinance money." "I know. With conditions." "I know that, too." I turned toward the office window. Rain made the parking structure look farther away than it was. "Are you calling to persuade me?" "No, I'm calling because she wants me to persuade you, and I'm declining in advance." I laughed softly. Mara continued. "Daniel asked me what I thought." "What did you say?" "I said a loan that buys permanent access isn't help. It's a cover charge." "That sounds like you." "He didn't enjoy it." "I'm sure." She waited. "Do you want to know what he said?" I looked at the calendar on my desk. 14 days remained. "Yes." "He said you had made it impossible for him to accept money from either woman in his life. The words hurt, but not in a new place. He still thinks that's the choice." I said. "What is it?" "Whether he can live without making a woman responsible for his comfort." Mara did not answer immediately. Then she said, "I'm sorry, I helped make his first version easier." On day 21, the lender found the delinquent tax installment. Daniel called me from the house. "Why is there a tax delinquency?" "Because you didn't pay it. You put the money in the account." "Yes. You always pay through the portal. I sent you the due date and asked you to confirm. They're adding a penalty." "I know. This can affect the refinance." "I know." He made a furious sound. "You watch this happen." "I almost paid it." "But you didn't." "No. That could hurt you too." "Yes." That was the part he could not fit into his story. I had allowed a consequence to touch me rather than remove it from his path. "The joint account has enough," I said. "Pay it today." He did. The confirmation arrived in both our emails at 3:17. The 10th property tax payment bore his name. The penalty did not destroy his refinance, but his income could not support the mortgage and my buyout. The lender offered a smaller amount. Evelyn offered the difference through a recorded lien that would give her approval rights over a future sale. She also wanted reimbursement for the $47,300 on Daniel's spreadsheet. He told her no. Then he asked me to come to the house. We met in the dining room beneath the pendant lights. The table still showed a faint, pale ring from the housewarming. Daniel had moved the tax notices and duplex invoices off the entry table, but the bare space where the bowl had once sat looked deliberate. Evelyn was already there. Her red key ring rested beside her hand. "What is she doing here?" I asked. Daniel closed the dining room door. "I need both of you to hear this." "I don't need to hear anything from her. Please." I remained standing. Daniel took a page from a folder. It was not the acknowledgement. It was the refinance offer. "I can't keep the house on my own," he said. Evelyn looked at the table. "I can if Mom helps, but I'm not signing her terms." Evelyn's head snapped up. "My terms protect everyone." "They protect you. I am the one risking capital." "Then don't risk it." The words surprised her. They surprised me too. Daniel placed the offer on the table. I told her I'm selling. For a moment, relief moved through me so fast it felt like grief. Evelyn stood. "You're letting her take your home because she refuses to forgive one mistake." Daniel looked at his mother. "It wasn't one mistake." I waited. He glanced toward the front hall, then at the red key ring. "I gave you the key because you said Claire was making me a visitor in my own house. But every time you used it, Claire became one." Evelyn's lips parted. "You asked me for that spreadsheet," he continued. "I wrote it because I wanted your help to mean more than hers. I needed it to." "Daniel," she said softly. He shook his head. For the first time, I saw Evelyn lose the ability to arrange the room around herself. She picked up her purse, but not the key ring. "I have never done anything except support you." "I know," he said. "That's why it took me so long to see the bill." She walked out without saying goodbye. The red ring remained on the table. Daniel stared at it. Then he pushed it toward me. I did not touch it. "I'm sorry," he said. Not for the toast, for knowing better before I made it. That was the answer to the question I had been asking since the party. He had known. He had felt the unfairness and chosen the version that protected him from it. "I believe you," I said. His eyes filled. "Could we try again?" I sat across from him. He told me he would set boundaries. Evelyn would never have another key. He would manage his own bills, his mother's errands, his share of the housework. We could sell and begin somewhere neither woman had financed. For several minutes, he sounded like the man I had married. Then he said, "I do need one thing from you." I waited. "An apology to Mom, not for the money, for how you did it at the party. If we're going to move forward, she can't be humiliated every time the family gets together." There it was, placed gently between us. My return still required repairing Evelyn's comfort. I stood. "I hope you become the man you're describing, Claire. But I'm not staying married while you practice." The house sold 7 weeks later. The price was fair. After the mortgage, fees, tax penalty, and repairs Daniel had postponed, we divided the proceeds according to our ownership. Evelyn received nothing. Her loan had already been repaid. Daniel moved into an apartment near his office. I signed a lease with an option to buy on a small brick townhouse with crooked floors and a kitchen no one else had selected. On the evening I received the keys, Mara brought takeout and a bottle of wine. She did not call it a housewarming. After she left, I carried the blue glass bowl from its box and placed it beside the door. The new key was brass. I dropped it into the bowl. The glass answered with one clear note, and this time it held only what I had chosen to put there.